Alliance-4 for Operation Chimera. This is a great mission for a couple different reasons. The name of this mission is great. It's called There's Something in Those Trees. And in my case, that something is the Death Star. We want to do 3,000 damage while unspotted, so I'm bringing a TD. And we want to win and survive if we want to get the secondary condition to complete this with honors. Now, we are doing this for the Alliance, which means we need to do it in British, American, or Polish tanks. This is really a good TD mission, and the Polish don't have a TD line, and I'm not one of those guys who's going to camp in the back with a heavy tank. Although, if you don't have TDs, whatever you need to do to get this mission done, camp in your heavy, camp in your medium, but highly recommend that you have some TDs to do this. You can even do this with lower tier TDs, like a T28 prototype or something like that. I think part of the challenge of this mission, given that it is Alliance, is that the American and British TDs tend to be these big, bulky things that don't necessarily have great camo factor. And so remaining unspotted while you're firing a massive gun, particularly on something like the Death Star, is quite challenging because the camo is so bad. And so the ideal situation here is that you're on a larger map where you have a really long lane that you can sit at the end of and just shoot things that happen to pop up in your lane. Now, the 183 in particular is great for this because unlike other TDs that maybe have lower alpha, and you can see there, I shot a little bit late on that tank and did 172 damage, but it was unspotted, so it counts. So unlike other tanks where you have lower alpha, if you're shooting down a lane and the enemy doesn't see you, there's a good chance they're going to back off. With the 183, if somebody pushes your lane and they don't see you, there's a good chance you're just going to make them explode. And so it's a little easier to get done when you have a much higher alpha gun on your tank, which is why I've chosen the 183 to do this. But you can do this with almost any tank if you just sit in the back and snipe. Even mediums and lights will probably get this done for you if you feel comfortable just sniping with those tanks. So this map is particularly good for this because there's two core lanes that I can work, and there's actually a third if the team really fails. But I'm sitting in one right now. I'm looking across to the open field, hoping that somebody pokes up in the village or across the road there. But there's a second lane that you can easily push up to, which is going up to the middle road and shooting into the city where the heavies are, and frankly, where a lot of the HP is on the enemy team. And so that's exactly what I'm going to do. Now, there's a difficulty with getting this done with this tank for me, which is this is a relatively new crew in this tank. One, I don't have camo, and you can see, which is a poor choice on my part, I don't have a camo net. And two, I don't have any crew skills on my crew. They're just working on their first crew skills, so I have no sixth sense. You can see here I'm going to pay for that. This tank fires HESH, which is kind of a variation of HE, and so I had to knock down that fence. Otherwise, the HESH round would hit the fence and would detonate on the fence as opposed to going through the fence like AP or APCR. And so I took some shots there to knock that fence down, but it's immediately going to pay off because I'm unspotted at this point. At least I think I'm unspotted. And I pop off a shot onto that E75, and I'm clearly unspotted because it gave me credit for it. The other nice thing you can do on this map is once you're confident that the heavies are not going to shoot you from city, you can actually pop up on the road here and sit behind the bushes and use this as cover. And particularly against the tanks that are up against the red line on the zero line, you can just shoot over and not get spotted. This would be, again, easier if I had camo crew in my tank, if I had a camo net on my tank. Unfortunately, I didn't, and frankly, I didn't even think about the net until I was in the match. But you can still get this done, as you can see from the video here. And with the 183, I don't need a lot of shots. I only need 4 or 5 shots to get this mission done, just depending on the tanks that I hit. And you can see this poor 704 is just going to pay for getting me aside like that. I feel so bad for him. But now I'm effectively 1 shot away from getting this mission done. No need to move from this spot. There's enough tanks in this field for me to fire at. The city's all wrapped up, so their tanks are moving into the field to get away from the Russian tanks from the city. And I just need to pop off this 1 shot to complete it. So you can do this in any TD. We're going to win here, clearly, because there's only 2 tanks left, and I'm definitely going to survive. So I was able to complete this with honors. But this is a fairly easy mission to get done. Pick a top-tier tank. Pick one that's going to give you those high-alpha guns, because it is pretty easy to do. You can do this in a Badger or a Tortoise. Just a little more difficult because you have to keep popping off shot after shot. But it certainly is doable. Deck it out for camo. I can't tell you how important that is. It makes it so much easier to do this, particularly in maps where you have long lanes that don't necessarily have concealment. I'm thinking of Himmelsdorf, for example, on the 1-2 line. That's a really long lane, but there's no bushes or anything really to sit behind. So the camo really helps. And just focus on those long lanes. Almost every map has one. Even the smaller maps, you're going to see the long lanes. Just sit at the end of that lane and wait for the tanks to come to you. You'll eventually get this because 3,000 damage at tier 10 it really isn't that hard to do. So I hope this helps, guys. Happy red line sniping for this one, and I'll see you on the next mission.